your evolution as an instructor. 25 pairs of eyes were staring at Sarah. Some students smiled as they found their seats. Others quietly opened their notebooks, ready to begin. One broker in the back had been selling real estate in Arizona for more than 25 years. Another student had just earned their license and was attending their very first continuing education class. Sarah had spent years building a successful real estate career. She had negotiated contracts, navigated challenging transactions, and earned the respect of her clients and fellow professionals. When she was invited to teach her first class, she thought, "I've been doing this for years. How hard can teaching be?" Then she stepped to the front of the room. Suddenly, it wasn't about everything she knew. It was about whether she could help 25 different people understand it. As the room settled, David, a veteran Arizona real estate instructor with more than 30 years of classroom experience, leaned over and quietly said, "You've already learned how to sell real estate. Today, you'll begin learning how to teach it." Those few words perfectly capture the purpose of becoming an exceptional instructor. Teaching is more than sharing knowledge. Many people assume the best instructors are simply those with the most experience. Experience certainly builds credibility, but experience alone does not create learning. Think back to the best instructor you've ever had. Chances are you don't remember every slide they presented or every statute they discussed. What you probably remember is how they made the material understandable. They asked questions that made you think. They used stories that helped difficult concepts make sense. They created an environment where learning felt natural instead of intimidating. That is exactly what the generally accepted principles of education, GAPE, encourage instructors to do. Rather than focusing only on presenting information, GAPE emphasizes creating learning experiences that actively engage students and improve long-term retention. Here's what many new instructors discover. Knowing the material is only half the job. Helping students apply that knowledge is what makes an instructor exceptional. Protecting the public begins in the classroom. Real estate instructors have a responsibility that extends far beyond the classroom walls. Every student sitting in your class will eventually represent buyers, sellers, landlords, tenants, investors, or property owners throughout Arizona. The lessons they learn today will influence decisions they make months or even years from now. Imagine an instructor rushing through agency relationships because they're running behind schedule. A student leaves class without fully understanding fiduciary duties. Months later, that same licensee mishandles confidential information during a transaction, leading to an ADRE complaint. Would one class have prevented the problem? Perhaps. That's why quality instruction matters. Every concept you explain clearly helps prepare future licensees to make better decisions, reduce mistakes, and serve Arizona consumers professionally and ethically. In many ways, protecting the public starts long before an agent ever writes a contract. It starts with the instructor standing at the front of the classroom. The difference between an expert and an educator. After Sarah finished teaching her first class, she felt confident. "I covered everything in my presentation," she proudly told David. He smiled and asked a simple question. "How much did your students learn?" She had been measuring success by everything she had taught. David was measuring success by everything the students had learned. That distinction changes the way exceptional instructors approach every class. Experienced educators constantly ask themselves, "Are my students following along? Does this example make sense? Should I explain this another way?" Great instructors understand that finishing the presentation is not the goal. Student understanding is. Sometimes spending 5 extra minutes explaining one difficult concept creates more value than racing through 10 additional slides. Professionalism never stops. Students pay close attention to more than your presentation. They notice your preparation, your attitude, your professionalism, and your willingness to continue learning. Arizona's real estate industry constantly evolves. Laws are amended, forms change, technology transforms how business is conducted, teaching methods improve. Outstanding instructors recognize that learning is a lifelong process. The moment an instructor believes they have nothing left to learn is often the moment their effectiveness begins to decline. Professional educators remain curious, seek feedback, attend educational programs, and continually refine their teaching style. They understand that every class presents an opportunity to become even better than the last. Instructor tip: one of the easiest ways to improve student engagement is to ask questions throughout the lesson, rather than waiting until the end. Students who actively participate are far more likely to remember what they've learned than those who simply listen. Your journey starts today. As the students left the classroom, Sarah gathered her notes and smiled. I thought teaching meant sharing everything I know, she said. David nodded. It does, he replied, but more importantly, it means helping others discover what they need to know. That is the evolution of every exceptional instructor. Throughout this course, you'll discover practical strategies for engaging adult learners, simplifying complex real estate concepts, managing both classroom and virtual instruction, and creating meaningful educational experiences that students remember long after the course ends. Because great instructors aren't simply experts in real estate, they are professionals who inspire learning, encourage growth, and help shape the future of Arizona's real estate industry, one student at a time. Online discussion question 1. Why is being an effective instructor different from simply being an experienced real estate professional? Answer. Industry experience provides valuable knowledge, but effective instructors know how to communicate that knowledge in a way students understand and remember. They create engaging learning experiences, encourage participation, and focus on student success rather than simply presenting information. Question 2. How does a real estate instructor help protect the public? Answer. Quality education prepares future licensees to comply with Arizona laws, practice ethically, and make informed decisions on behalf of their clients. Every lesson contributes to developing competent professionals who serve the public responsibly. Question 3. What qualities do you believe are most important for an exceptional instructor, and why? Answer. Exceptional instructors combine industry expertise with strong communication skills, professionalism, patience, adaptability, and a commitment to continuous improvement. They recognize that their role is not simply to teach information, but to develop confident, ethical real estate professionals.